Hi, everyone. Welcome to the webinar today. We are so thrilled to have you with us. Today, we will be discussing marketing vacancies, something that is going to be very important, if not already, in 2024 with some of the market conditions that we've been seeing. So, we thought this would be a great time to bring on a couple of experts to talk about how to better market your vacancies, hopefully, to get better tenants and also to increase your revenue. There are definitely some great strategies in here that you may not be using. So I'm excited to hear from our experts today. Let me tell you a little bit more about them before we begin. So we have with us Ryan DeRoca, leasing agent of Structure Properties. He's a seasoned real estate professional with a track record of excellence and a passion for delivering results. He's seamlessly integrated his extensive 20 plus years of marketing and management acumen into the Bay Area real estate landscape. So that's a very competitive rental marketing area. Today, Ryan proudly serves as a pivotal figure at both Properties and Hogan and Vest with a keen eye for detail, strategic mindset, and a knack for anticipating market shifts. He's a trusted advisor for clients seeking to make informed decisions in an ever evolving landscape. Great to see that you have so much experience. You've seen it all, probably, Ryan, by now. So excited to hear from you. Also, Annette Gallagher, who's the director of content at Livable. Annette has been the director of content at Livable for just over a year. She's a professional writer, educator, and researcher. She's passionate about helping people make the most of their investments while making the world a better place. So she'll be talking about how you could do that too. And also want to go over just a couple housekeeping items. One is we are recording this whole thing. We also have slides available for you after the webinar. We will be emailing you the recording and the slides tomorrow. So if for some reason you missed something, don't worry. We will be able to get that to you, as well as contact information for our speakers today. If you have follow-up questions, we will have some time at the end here for Q&A. So please put your questions in the question box and not the chat so that we can keep better track of your questions. We'll try to get to as many as we can. We've left plenty of time for you to ask questions to our experts today. So definitely I encourage you to take advantage of that. So with all of that being said, thank you, Annette and Ryan, for joining us today. I'm going to hand it off to you so you can get started with the presentation.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We do appreciate having you all here. You know how valuable your time is, and we want to talk a little bit about the state of today's leasing market. The last few years have seen high rent increases across the country. I live in South Florida, and certainly our market has been tremendously impacted by rent increases as property values go up, insurance costs go up, all sorts of other reasons for rents to be increasing, including increased demand in Florida since COVID. But what we're starting to see now is that inventory, which has been low for the last several years, is starting to increase. So rents have been slightly softening nationwide for the last few months. And Multifamily Dive reported yesterday that rents have dropped for the last 3 months in a row. Now, when we say drop for the last 3 months in a row, we're talking a matter of $5 to $6 on average nationally. But when you look at that as a trend, it is something to pay attention to. And as that new inventory is coming online, as new buildings are being built, and in every major city, construction has increased, as that new inventory comes online in major cities, it's going to drive competition. We're already starting to see lower occupancy rates and landlords making concessions in order to maintain occupancy, including potentially reducing rent. So, with all of that in mind, Ryan and I wanted to talk to you today about how to best market your vacancies in this slightly changing landscape. So, Alexandra, I think this would be a great time for our first poll question.
Yes. So for the first poll question, are you happy with your current marketing for vacant units? Yes or no? And if you want to put in the chat too, what are you doing for marketing, right now? I'd love to know, but is it really bringing in the types of tenants that you want? Are you able to fill the vacancies quickly and you're happy with that process? So I'll give you all a little bit more time here, just a few more seconds to answer in. get a few more of you. All right, they're coming in. If I can get more than half of you, I'll go ahead and share here. Zillow, Sandra says in the chat, has been very effective at reaching the market. Now, that's a big platform for sure. Definitely one that you can get a lot of eyeballs on just by posting a free post, even. So, we'll talk about how to optimize those kind of postings as well in a bit. All right, so it's been about a minute, so let me go ahead and show the results here. All right, more no's than yeses, but pretty close.
All
We're
right,
about
almost
split.
50-50.
Mhm.
Great. Okay, well, for those of you who are not happy with how you're doing your marketing, we're going to review some key do's and don'ts for marketing your units, including how conservation and green initiatives can help you attract younger long-term tenants. We'll also talk about a couple of free or low-cost tools that can broaden your reach and make that marketing easier. Maybe tools you haven't heard of, unlike Zillow, which of course everybody knows about. And we also want to emphasize that qualified leasing agents like Ryan have the resources to help you get quality photos and write great listings for your property, taking that part of it off your plate, because that is one of the hard things for a lot of folks to do. So I'm going to turn it over to Ryan now so he can tell us about what works when you're marketing.
Great. Thank you, Annette. And good morning, everyone. Happy to be here. First and foremost, yes, what works? So photos, that's the first thing people see. That's how you get attention. The eyeballs on your listing are important. So great photos matter. If you can get a professional photographer to take some photos for you, that's great. But not everybody has the budget for professional photos. So if you do it yourself, here's some key do's and don'ts. We'll start with the do's. Daytime photos, make sure you have good lighting, not daytime when it's gray outside or foggy. You want bright, natural light to cast your space in the best light possible. To assist with that, make sure your lights are on in your room, all your rooms of your unit. Photos of the common areas also are key. People want to see not just the unit, but also outside the unit. So the common areas, outdoor spaces, if you have a green space. With COVID right now kind of subsiding, there's still a trend for hybrid work schedules, work from home schedules. So people want extra space for their home desk or home workstations. They also want a little space outside to go outside, take a phone call, hop on a call. They can plug in with a hotspot with a laptop outside in a green space. That's even better. Street views, amenities. So does your property offer on-site laundry? Does it have a parking? Are you close to a grocery store, a neighborhood park, some of that for kids if you have children? Those are all key attributes people seek nowadays for quality of life, keeping it close to home, walkable. Floor plan, see what dimensions, you can see how big the rooms are, how big the space is, can they fit their furniture? That way they can kind of decide if the space is big enough for them or not. Amenities I touched on a little bit, but I'll do a little more onto that. So parking is key. We see a big issue for parking here in San Francisco. A lot of owners have gone to ADUs, which have taken over the parking spaces. So there's less parking available now. So parking has become key in the city, especially. That being said, bike parking, scooter parking. So people who don't drive cars, a lot of times people in our city will take public transportation. There's rail, there's buses. All types of different public transportation options are available here in the city. So people want to have bike parking or scooter parking so they don't have to have that vehicle there. Also cuts on emissions. So that's key. We'll touch on that a little bit later, but the environmental impact of how we transport ourselves to and from work. The unit details, soft neutral colors on the wall. We don't want bright, outlandish colors that are going to set people off or be off-putting. Soft neutral colors are great. We touch on a flex space right there. Again, that's like a work from home space. Perhaps if you have a home office, you can use it as an office sometimes. Not even a dedicated office room, but just a space that could be maybe a playroom for the kids. That's when they're home from school, but maybe your work from home space while you're doing your 9 to 5, or for all your tenants doing their 9 to 5. Descriptions, key selling points for your unit. So try and hone in on 2 or 3 key attributes of your unit. Great natural light, top floor, spacious bedrooms, remodeled, renovated kitchens. People love new appliances if you have that. Again, outdoor space is also a big one here in the city. People want to be able to get out, stretch their legs, get some fresh air because they're in the high rises most of the day. They want to be able to walk around, stretch their legs. Those bullet points are really key to get the attention of the prospect, and then you can kind of reel them in with more details later on. As far as that, I think that's probably good for the top view there. We can go to the next slide for the don'ts and what doesn't work. So what doesn't work is poor photos, and here's some examples. So the dark photos, lights aren't on, shades are closed, doesn't really cast your unit in a very good light. Major no-no in our in our office is the open toilet. It just screams unsanitary, doesn't do you any good. So small basics like that. Again, the paint colors you see in the next slide there, clutter-free. The room looks good, but the paint is a little bit not to everyone's liking probably. And then the details, make sure your unit's clean, neat. Spend the money for cleaning before the photos, not afterwards, because that's what's going to set you apart. That's just what people remember by is those photos. And that goes for repairs as well. As you can see in the photo there, you have a little, the bottom of the oven hanging off, just doesn't look good. Speaks to your ability and your responsiveness as a property manager. Are you going to be key to answer questions? Are you going to be good to follow up and take care of repairs in a timely manner? You want to tell the story of your responsiveness in your photos. And that's pretty much good on the don'ts. We can go to the next slide.
And a great agent like Ryan and his colleagues will help you figure out some of these issues. They'll notice things like that oven drawer hanging and be able to help you rectify that before you list your property. So we know that working with a quality agent is absolutely your best option. Having that professional person who can help you be able to write that listing, know what's important to include, what you can get away without, help you find the right photographer to be able to take your pictures or at least guide you on doing it yourself. That's obviously your best option, but we know that those services don't exist everywhere. So there are a couple of marketing platforms that we at Livable love that we believe can help you get more from your rental investment. So I'm going to go over these very quickly. These are ones, like I said earlier, you may not have heard of, unlike, Zillow, that's, sort of the elephant in the room when it comes to listings. So Dwellsy is a relatively new platform that served 2 million renters just last year. It is a two-sided marketplace, so it serves both renters and owners, and they also are partners with property management software companies. So they get listings from property management software and populate their platform, as well as from individual landlords posting them. Tenants can come in and search. Landlords can post for free. It is absolutely free to all users, to landlords and renters. Their income, their revenue comes from ads that they place on the platform. And right now, their entire reason for existence is that they realized that when folks who go to buy a home speak to a realtor, they have access to the entirety of the MLS listings for their area. There's not been a way for renters to have that same access to as much of the market. So when Craigslist was at its peak, maybe 10 years ago, Craigslist probably had more of the rentals in the United States listed than any place else. Craigslist has pretty much collapsed. That's not the case anymore. So Dwellsy has stepped in, and right now they have 30 to 40% of the available listings in any major market area, which is 4 to 5 times larger than any other service offers. So more renters are going to be likely to see your listing. Of course, that also means since they do have more listings, it is more competitive. So you've got to up that marketing game, as Ryan said, with the right photos, the right descriptions, the bullet points, and all of those features. IntelliRent is sort of a back office in your pocket. They have actually, they are able to cut vacancies in half with their smart matching technology that helps show you who your ideal renter is. You can attract, screen, and approve reliable renters in less than 24 hours. You're able to customize applications. They run credit and background reports for you. They get resumes from renters, and you put your listing on IntelliRent, they deploy that to 80 different websites for you. So it's sort of a one-stop shop. It does a lot more of the background paperwork, like I said, a back office in your pocket than Dwellsy does. And it is free to owners. So everyone on this call can use IntelliRent at no cost because the folks who are applying to live in your properties are the ones who will pay the fee. Ryan, did you want to add anything about IntelliRent?
Absolutely. IntelliRent is key for our business practices. We use them with almost every deal, almost exclusively. For applications, they'll take it from almost start to finish. Prospects will apply through IntelliRent. They'll perform a background check as well as a credit check for us, making sure not only are they qualified fiscally, they're also good people with the background checks. We don't want to have bad people in our communities. They'll help us sort through multiple applications. You can sort by different metrics, but IntelliRent, as well as even before that, pushing it out to all the listing services, that one-stop shop to be able to kind of spread out, cast a wide net. And it's not just Zillow, it's apartmentlist.com or Zumper. I mean, the list goes on and on. Like I said, I think it's like 40 different syndicated websites that it goes through. So it casts a very wide net, and you get great 80 websites, excuse me. You see a lot of traction just posting through IntelliRent. A very, very good tool that we highly recommend. And again, that we use with every deal we work on.
Fantastic. So Alexandra, I think this is a good time for our second poll question.
Yes, do you include green initiatives as benefits when you list vacant units? So this is a really great one. I'm really glad that we'll be discussing this. I think in recent years, it's become more important as a benefit for renters. So we'll definitely be touching on that a bit. I'm definitely seeing more no's than yeses on this, which doesn't surprise me too much. But I think for those of you who are saying no, or even those who are saying yes, there are definitely some ways to build that in and really, stand out from all of the rest of the rentals on the market. So let's go ahead and give you just a few more seconds here to answer. All right, it's been about a minute, so I'm going to show the results here. All right,
Okay.
75% say no. All right, I'll let you expand on that.
So, promoting conservation is actually a great part of your marketing strategy for vacancies, especially if you're trying to reach younger renters. Younger millennials and Gen Z, a lot of whom are, young professionals, that late 20s to early mid 30s group, they have pretty much given up on home ownership. They are looking at themselves as forever renters. First of all, they are more about experiences than they are about acquiring assets, acquiring things. So they are just like, that's the reason Uber and Lyft are so big. They would rather pay for someone else, for the use of someone else's vehicle than own one and maintain one themselves. They're looking at apartment living similarly. They don't want the hassle of home ownership. They want to be able to call somebody else when something needs fixed. Part of that. So they are at the same time, though, yes, they have decided that a lot of them have decided they are forever renters. They still want to live in places that match their values. And millennials and Gen Z are far more environmentally conscious and driven by conservation than previous generations. So anything that you have about your property that is a green initiative, things you may not even think about that would appeal to those younger renters and make them want to live in your community for longer are great things to include in your marketing, to include in those bullet points that Ryan mentioned earlier. He talked about walkability and public transit. If you're close to a major transit hub, that's a good thing to point out. 5-minute walk from the Metro Rail. That is in a lot of apartment listings in Miami now. We're actually building units by the Metro Rail to take advantage of that and appeal to those that younger market. So walkability, low flow shower heads and toilets. These may be things that you've installed to save yourself money on master build utilities, but they also are a conservation tool that appeals to younger renters. Same with Energy Star rated appliances. If you have recycling available in your community, in your building, on your property, make sure to mention that. EV charging stations. EV use has been exploding. We all know that. So if you have EV charging stations, even if they're not on your community, the gated community I live in is next to a Whole Foods that has 12 Tesla charging stations in the parking lot. So that would be, if I was marketing a unit here, I would mention that because it's 2 seconds away. Super convenient and very appealing. LED lighting, recycled flooring, solar power, if you have that available, outdoor water filtration systems that filter your shower water, smart irrigation that doesn't waste water because it only operates when needed. All of these are things that may not leap to mind as part of a marketing strategy for your unit, but could be important when reaching those people who are going to end up becoming long-term tenants for you. Ryan, anything you want to add to that?
Absolutely. I'd love to jump in here. So this almost speaks to the Bay Area prospect specifically. So we see a ton of people, young people specifically, especially now after COVID. Again, the work from home crowd, the millennial Gen Zers that are moving here, the digital nomads, as we call them, who don't have that roof over their heads, who want that flexibility to move where the jobs go, whether it's around Silicon Valley, around the Bay Area, or around nationally. If they get their start here at one of the universities, whether it's Stanford or Berkeley, they get their seeding here in some of the big firms, and then they go out throughout the country. They go to Florida, they go to Texas, they're traveling New York, East Coast. They're branching out all over the U.S., all over the world, actually, where they're international if you're from San Francisco. And then some of the California green initiatives, which also are like the low flow things, you're seeing those spark trends, and not just because they're required, because again, it benefits both the owner and the tenant. One thing else I would add on these list is double pane glass windows. So it's cooler here in the Bay Area, double pane glass, energy efficient, cooler outside, stays warmer inside. Conversely, if it's warmer outside, keeps it cooler in the unit. So it's more comfortable for your tenant, and it's better for you for energy cost savings. You mentioned the EV chargers. That's huge. Teslas are everywhere up here. I've got a condo right now that everyone's first question, top of the mind is there an EV charger in there? Can I plug in here? Is there a plug-in? If not, can I pay for an electrician to install a plug-in? So I have that option for me. So that's another big trend. If you don't have that, people are asking to put that in themselves. So they want that green course of transportation. Proximity to your metros, like we said, BART is their Bay Area rapid transit. We've got munis all around. The bus lines go up and down. So public transportation is huge. These are major selling points here in the city. And you're going to see that trend continue nationwide. Like you said, down in Florida, this is kind of catching on right now. This is the start of it. So you want to be ahead of the curve. Work these into your buildings piece by piece. It doesn't have to be a one-stop shop where you're putting all this money in today, but do a little bit by bit incrementally. Maybe Q1 you're working some lighting, maybe Q3 you're doing some solar, and just start upgrading not only to help your investment, but also to draw better tenants, better quality tenants, and maximize your occupancy, minimize that vacancy.
Absolutely. Okay, so I mentioned solar a minute ago, and a lot of folks are not aware that there is a multifamily solution for solar. Now, this is not available everywhere in the country yet. They are working exclusively in states that have independent power producer protection laws. So California is one, Colorado is one. There are others. There are more states are working on getting this protection passed. But Ivy Energy was created specifically for the multifamily market by people who sold solar to residential and commercial buildings and realized there was a gap. Ivy is literally the software only, and what they do is they they help you be able to build all of your residents. Let's say that you own a 4-unit building or a triplex. You can put solar panels on it and be able to evenly, fairly, transparently separate and disperse the costs of the energy use among your units. So it's entirely a software platform. They do recommend installers. They help property owners find financing. They actually have a function on their website that helps you find incentives. There are tens of millions of dollars in incentives at every level of government, from municipal to federal, that sit unused every month in the United States because people simply don't know they exist. So Ivy Energy has a goal of helping property owners find those incentives so they can then be able to afford the installation of solar panels at a reasonable cost, help the environment, and be able to bill their residents directly for energy, with the landlord being the actual energy provider. So it's a really cool option for multifamily buildings that maybe didn't realize that this was a possibility before. So I just wanted to bring that up as an option. And $8 a month per unit is really a reasonable price when you think about the fact that you're able to pull off the energy grid and be able to have more control over your own power generation and how you bill your residents for it, especially if you're in a building that is older and has master billed electricity. This is a fabulous way to save money while helping the environment at the same time. And of course, I'm here to talk about Livable a bit as well. Livable uses ratio utility billing to help rental owners be able to recover master billed utilities that you've been paying for. And when we ask folks, well, are you including utilities with rent? Most of them say no. And then we say, but what about water? Well, yeah, I pay for water. Well, why? Why are you paying for water? If you have to pay for master billed water, sewer, and trash, the rates of which have gone up at 8% year over year the last 5 years in the United States, that is cutting into your net operating income. That is cutting into the value of your investment. And Livable offers an easy, affordable way for you to recover up to 90% of that master billed water, sewer, trash, and other utilities as allowed by your local laws, with absolutely no unit minimums. There have been solutions like this at the enterprise level for huge complexes for a long time. Livable is the first one that will do it for you if you own one half of a duplex and rent the other half. You can use Livable to fairly bill your tenant in that other side of the duplex for their share of the water, sewer, and trash without it being um, unfair, with it being allocated by square footage, by amenity, etc. So we have a payment portal that the residents use. You pay your utility bill like normal, the residents, and then you upload those bills to Livable. We bill your residents, they pay us, we pay you. And it's all debit, credit, ACH. They can use check or money order, and then you get the money the next month. So it takes about 60 days to start recovering those utility costs, but you can recover up to 90%. And you see we have a property management portal. If you have a team that helps you manage your buildings, they can all have access. They can all have access to Livable. We have a calculator that shows you just how much you can save. We are implementing spike alerts. So if you see that, oh, suddenly there's a huge spike in water use, well, somebody's got a leak. Somebody's got a leak, and you can go find that and fix it so that it doesn't cost so much. And then, of course, we have robust reporting throughout as well. The resident portal allows your residents to see transparently exactly what is going on. And we also provide them with conservation tips and education so that they know simple things like turning off the water when brushing your teeth. Family of 4 can use 12,000 gallons of water a month, or a year rather. That's 12,000 gallons of water somebody's paying for that's literally going down the drain. Simple things like that that save energy and water for everybody. So again, we want to help landlords get more from your investment, but also help make the planet better for all of us. We're working on leak reporting and maintenance requests. We have multiple payment options set up, and they can always see their statement and transaction history as well.
Annette, real quick, A couple things I can add to that, if I may.
Please, please.
This is a huge trend in San Francisco. So obviously, recycling is big in California as a green state. We want to be environmentally friendly, but it's not just water and garbage anymore. It's water, trash, recycling, and now compost. We're composting here to be green, and it's a great thing for the environment, but it costs money, and that's not for the owner to take on entirely themselves. So vast majority of our owners now are switching from water and garbage included to utilities not included. We're going to pass through an equitable amount of cost to each unit based on occupancy that they can see and track their usage, like you said. And people are actually embracing it because they can kind of break down their costs as a tenant and see how much they're going to be paying, what their piece
Right.
of the pie is. And it's social responsibility. It's part of the mindset of the new generation where they don't want to be wasting. They don't want to be taking more than they need to. They want to be doing they want to be involved with recycling and composting and contributing to those green measures. So it's a great thing now. And with owners that I talk to all the time, they've been taking on these costs for years, and the costs just keep going up and up and up. And like I said, it's dollars and cents. It's your bottom line. So protect that. Pass through the costs where you can. And most tenants, when they see that, they want to be able to see their cost breakdown. They're actually very open to this, very amenable to these ideas, and we have no problem whatsoever leasing units because of this. And it'll take down your number if you want to say utilities are not included. That's fine, but actually brings your number down instead of baking that cost in. So your actual rental price come down a little bit. It gets you on a little more radar. More radars for exposure for people in
Yeah.
that first click. Get those clicks. That's what you want, and then you can talk about the costs of the water, garbage, trash, recycling down the line as you get that conversation. But
Yeah.
the idea is to get more clicks, more eyes on it, and then you talk about these initiatives. Again, most people are really open to them.
Yeah, and especially because there is, as we were talking about earlier with these younger renters who are likely to be forever renters, they really are looking for that greater good, that larger impact.
Absolutely.
So that's absolutely something that that they will be amenable to and open to, especially because they will feel like they have some control over it. Recycling costs in California are by weight, so the less you use, the less it's going to cost you. The less that you consume, the less it's going to cost you. And so having that measure of control over the costs helps people be able to embrace programs like ratio utility billing. There are even studies that show that simply, and there, because obviously we know there are some communities with rent control where this sort of billing is not as easy to do. But there are studies that show that simply informing people of their use, of their consumption, causes them to reduce it. We've all been that person. We've all been that person who stays in a hotel, takes a 30-minute hot shower, cranks the air all the way down because, hey, I'm not paying for it, right? We've all done that at some point in our lives. And if we knew exactly how much we were using and what it cost, we wouldn't be as likely to do that. So there are studies that show simply being able to inform people of how much they use can help reduce their consumption, which lowers everyone's costs over time and makes the world a better place. So I think, Alexandra, we have one more poll question. Is that right?
Yes, we do. If you liked what you just heard and you want to do a discovery call with Annette and her team, Livable, to learn the best way to bill your tenants for utilities, obviously you all probably have slightly different setups and different areas, different laws. And so if you are interested in billing your tenants for utilities, you want to make sure you're doing it correctly and that you're choosing a very fair way to set it up. So they are giving a $10 Starbucks gift card, which is really awesome if you do schedule that discovery call. If you say yes, what we'll do is just send your info over to the Livable team and we'll go ahead and set you up so that you can get that scheduled with them. And hopefully, you'll learn something about how you can better not just market your vacancies, but also recoup your costs. So I'll leave that up for a little while. We're going to hop into some Q&A. We did get some questions. Patricia asking a question here for you, Annette. Can Livable be used on a 2-unit duplex?
Yes, it can. Absolutely. We have a number of folks who do exactly that. Duplexes tend to be master metered, so it makes it very easy for you to apportion the share of utilities between, the two halves of the duplex. If you've got it's just you and one other person on your side, but they've got a family of four, well, obviously the share of utilities shouldn't be the same. So it does allow you to fairly apportion and bill for that.
Great, great. And then I think there's also a couple questions that maybe Ryan can answer. Brian and someone else had asked about any particular websites that you know of to create floor plan sketches of their units. I know of Room Sketcher. I don't know, Ryan, if you know of another one that you might use.
We have a service here in the city, Toursler, Toursler, and they'll come around. They'll professionally photograph your unit. They'll do a 3D tour. They'll
Hmm.
also give you a floor plan, all for about $250, which is a tremendous value considering you can use that floor plan in perpetuity. And those professional photographs, obviously, if you're not doing any major reconstruction or any remodeling, those are going to last for a long time as well. So, a worthwhile investment for sure, in my opinion.
Can you spell that again? You said it's Tour, Tour?
Sler, Toursler, Toursler.
Toursler. Okay. All right, that's great. We can maybe give you all that link there. That's a great a great investment, I think. Like you said, you definitely do get to use it more than once. And also, let's see here. For Sandra asking for Annette, what is the unit measure that Livable uses to apportion the utilities? Is it the number of people in the unit? Is it by square footage? It's a
Okay.
great question.
It's all of that. We look at, because if you have the exact same square footage in two different units, but a different occupancy rate, well, then the use is going to be different. If you have the exact same size of unit, but one unit has a washer, dryer, and dishwasher, and the other one doesn't, the utility use is going to be different. So we factor in the square footage of the unit, the any in-unit amenities. If one unit has an extra bathroom that the other one doesn't, if one has a bathtub, the other one's only a shower. If like I said, the washer, dryer, dishwasher, and the occupancy. We look at all of those features as well as common area. So we take a portion of the common area that gets shared among the residents, but then the landlord assumes responsibility for some of the common area as well. So that's why we say up to 90%. But yes, we have a very sophisticated algorithm that factors in all of those variables.
Great. And then let's see here. She says thank you. Also, Yvonne asking maybe for Ryan here, how is Dwellsy different from the MLS for realtors? I guess the MLS is only shown to realtors, right? So, you do you have any comments on that?
I don't use Dwellsy that much in my practice. Honestly, we use Zillow and Telerent. Those are the
Hmm.
primary ones. I also post on Craigslist. It's an oldie but goodie. Still a lot of good diamonds in the rough. There's a lot of riffraff in there you got to sift through, but
Yes.
definitely worth your while to post on Craigslist as well. I think still in this day and age. Maybe Annette can speak to Dwellsy a little better than that.
Yeah, Dwellsy is endeavoring to be almost an MLS for renters. The MLS that realtors have access to is only properties for purchase.
So
Dwellsy is all about rentals. So they are endeavoring to pull in far more of the rental market as available to show to renters than they can currently see. Because a lot of the websites that exist out there may only show you 5 to 7% of what's really available in your area. So then you've got to check Craigslist and Zillow and this one and that one to try to find your right property in your area. Dwellsy wants to be sort of the clearinghouse, larger marketplace that will encompass all of those listings together.
That's great. Yeah, and from what I understand as well, it's you don't pay to have a more premium listing. It's just
Right.
they're all the same.
Yes,
So
they are all the same, and they make their revenue off ads that are on the site. It's free.
that's
It's free to all users, renters and landlords.
yeah, that's definitely different than the typical model we've seen. So definitely worth trying out, I'd say. So also we did receive more comments, but I can go through some of those in a bit. I think the most recent question that we haven't answered was about installing solar.
Mhm.
And let me see if I can find that question here.
Okay.
Let's see here. Yes, Jamal, do you guys have an idea if it's more advantageous long term to install solar or like a roof deck with a nice view? I'm assuming in this question there is not room for both. So, I mean, I don't know if Ryan, you've seen a situation where you had to pick, or if you have a
Amenity
workaround.
wise,
In
I don't
terms of
know.
adding value, I mean, I think the roof deck is a pretty hard thing to beat. If you got an ocean view or some kind of nice view, you want to soak it up. That's going to be a very distinguishable trait that you can offer to set you apart from the competition. It's also going to allow you to charge a nice premium on your property to have a nice roof deck because not many people have that, and it has a view that's even better. So while solar is definitely key for most, um, there are certain exceptions to the rule, such as a nice view from a roof deck with, you know,
Yeah,
yeah, I think that would be the way to go, in my opinion.
Yeah,
definitely. I
I
think
think that's definitely location dependent.
yes, it is. And I also have seen solar over parking, which is actually really nice. I know at our office, we recently had solar installed over the parking. So parking is
Yep.
covered now, which is nice. So, your car doesn't get super hot, but at the same time, that heat all gets used. So it's going towards the solar energy. So you could do it in your parking lot if you have one. That might actually be a better use if you did want to have also that roof deck to go along with it. But yeah,
Yeah.
definitely depends on where you're located. Let's
Yeah.
see here. And let's see here. What about listing to insurance companies? Yvonne was asking. Um, Not sure what you mean by that, Yvonne. I haven't heard about insurance companies being involved in the process. Let's see here. Another question from Sandra, if Dwellsy has background or credit checks, and Yvonne asking if Dwellsy performs this kind of matching. So essentially, like, do they match you with good tenants, or is it just tenants just apply at will? Maybe Annette, a little
Yeah,
about that.
they are strictly a marketplace. They are a two-sided marketplace. They don't do at this time, to the best of my knowledge. But certainly, please, don't take my word for it because, as we
Hmm.
know, cloud platforms are constantly updating. That's
Yes.
one of the great things about the cloud is how fast things are evolving. So I would recommend going to Dwellsy directly and looking to see what features they offer. But to my recollection, they are simply a marketplace. They don't
Yes.
offer the background and credit checks and all of that that IntelliRent does.
But you could certainly use AAOA for that. So we do have
Absolutely.
that. We also, I don't know if you all have checked it out just yet, but we also have the ability for you to create application links from your account. If you need help creating that, just let us know. You can share that link and put it anywhere on any listing on any site. If anybody fills out the application on that link and pays for it, if you want to charge them for it, they will automatically be screened, so you don't have to necessarily use whatever platform's background check that they offer. You could just take your AAOA link and put it on everything. So everything will go to one place and you can see who's applied to your rental. So if you do need help with that, let me know. You can contact us. I'll be sure to just reach out to you all after the webinar, let you know, because that's a really good way to market your rentals, is just to have the application link already on there. And why not? If they're
Always,
ready to go, just do it. Yeah, you do that too, Ryan, I'm sure.
always, first
Yeah,
rule of the listing, always include link to the application.
yeah,
That's the next step in the process. Make that next step as easy and as seamless as possible for that prospect to click and apply. If they looking for something in that area, yours fits, checks all the boxes, they want to move forward, make it as easy as possible for them to get to that next step. Always include link to the application.
yeah, yeah, definitely agree. I'm so happy that we have that feature now. Um, all right, so really the rest that we have are just some comments. Comment that I made, someone agreed with, and says New Jersey is doing this as well. That all new cars sold in 2035 and beyond in California, New Jersey. I'm not sure which other states they're going to be electric vehicles. So going back to
Yeah.
that, um, take advantage of the incentives that there are now to do it because those are going to be gone eventually. And so you might as well do it ahead of time. You will be rewarded for doing it ahead of time, and it's going to happen anyway, right? It's pretty clear, especially in these states that are literally telling you it's going to happen. But I'm sure in other states it's coming. California is usually the testing ground, as we know, for laws and different things that pass in other states. And so if it's in California, it might be coming to a state near you. So keep that in mind as well. And let's see, Mason asking a question about identity fraud and theft. And yeah, that's definitely an issue when you have people applying really through any platform. It doesn't matter. That's why it's important to do the background and credit check. That those usually will be a way of verifying identity, but you may also obviously want to collect, any documentation like a driver's license, state ID, some sort of government issued ID is really crucial. The more things you ask from an applicant, right, the harder it becomes for them to fake. So pay stubs, bank statements, tax returns. I'd be curious, Ryan, do you request all of those documents or do you?
Sure. Yes. So the
Yeah.
process for Intellerant is government issued IDs. So we photo IDs, so either driver's license or passport. And then for proof of income, we ask for your most two recent pay stubs or your last two bank statements to get an idea of your current fiscal health. We'll also take a job offer letter if you haven't gotten a pay stub yet. I'll then call and follow up just to verify the employment and that the compensation is accurate. And then as far as ID theft goes, that's a great point. Intellerant now is now had another extra layer of security where when you see the renter resume is what they call it when it's compiled, they'll identify certain facets of it that potential, they'll flag it for fraud. So if a document has been edited in any way, shape, or form, they'll flag that for you to draw your attention to it so you can follow up and kind of key in on those documents, whatever it might be. So again, a great platform, does a lot of the work for you and makes it very easy to get prospects into tenants.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're going to try. Mason says he's had 5 cases of identity fraud in the last 3 months. That's a lot. I think even more than average, perhaps. Maybe you just got the short end of the stick there on that. But it certainly does happen. I mean, and we see it too, because obviously we do the background checks for a lot of our members, and they will call us and say, hey, how come this report shows that their social is invalid? Did I enter anything in wrong? We'll double check. We'll ask the applicant to send a copy of their social or their ID, and then they just go away and they don't respond. And so, once you start to sort of question them, you'll start to see some of those, I guess, identity fraud issues. Maybe sort of they just suddenly become disinterested. So that's always a red flag. Um, let's see here. Right. And it's Intellerent for that platform that Ryan is using to answer Christine's question there. All right. So I think that we've covered all the questions so far. Now, I don't know if you all have any closing comments, Ryan or Annette, before we head out. You guys are said everything you need to say. All right.
Thank
Um,
you. Thank you for being here.
Pretty much. Any questions, feel free to reach out to me. We'll have
yeah.
my contact information. If you have any questions, you're in the Bay Area, I'd love to work with you and help guide you in your leasing process. But yeah, those key components of sustainability going forward right now, environmentally friendly, and then not only that, but then passing those costs through to the tenants is a key trend right now that you want to capitalize on and take advantage of.
Yes, absolutely. And Livable is definitely an easy way to set that up and do it. If you're not billing your tenants for utilities, you are losing money. Like it is what it is. So definitely reach out to Livable. If any other additional questions, I'll send you Ryan and Annette's information. We'll send you the full recording tomorrow. We'll send you all of the slides. Um, Ryan and Annette, any recommendations from your counterpart for New Jersey? I actually have some people in New Jersey I could refer you to, Yvonne, and everyone else was saying thank you, excellent information, valuable information. So I'm so glad that you all got something out of it. We are certainly always happy to share all of these little tidbits of knowledge from our experts, and I'm glad that you stuck around. Annette and Ryan, thank you so much for all of your valuable expertise. We will go ahead and reach out to all of you tomorrow. So, in the meantime, I hope you have a wonderful day and we'll be in touch. Take care, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Yes, and happy holidays.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Bye. Take care.
Bye bye.